Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sweetwater County Innovation Launchpad. So first up, I'll be giving an introduction. So my name is Monica Patton. I'm from Impact 307. And then we'll jump right into the pitches. So we'll first have Dylan Covington with his company, Shop Dog Custom. And then we'll have Amanda Finch with Meritical Health Solutions. And then Nick Walworth will be presenting Wild Sage Markets pitch, which he co-founded with Stacy Doliner, Pete Rust, and Lori Carollo. And then we'll have Glen and Mindy Reddon with GM Valley Processing, and then Justin Hood with Wyoming Apparatus, and then finally Cody and Brittany Gray for High Desert Technology. And when the pitches are over, everybody don't take off, because you're going to learn how you can vote for your favorites. So you're going to have two choices, the Audience Choice Award and the Job Creator Award. So I'll be giving instructions about voting for those after all the pitches conclude. And then there'll be a networking and award reception to follow. So this is all brought to you by Impact Sweetwater, which is a collaboration of UW's Impact 307 and Western Wyoming Community College. So I'd like to recognize the Impact 307 colleagues that came here today. So there's Derek Jared. If you could each stand, please. John Wetzel. Erik Schlitt. John Glassburn. And Fred Schmeckel. And I'd also like to recognize the Western Wyoming Community College partners that are here. So Dr. Kim Dale, if you could please stand. Cliff Woodstruck. And Amy Murphy was instrumental in this program. She wishes she could be here tonight. She will be watching the recording. And then Lori Carollo. So Impact 307 not only puts on these regional startup challenges, but we offer biweekly mentorship to any innovative and scalable startup, or those businesses that are good for the economic ecosystem. So if you'd like counseling, you don't have to wait till our next competition opens. You can call me tomorrow at 307-466-3963, or you can email me at monica.patton@uwyo.edu. And so, even if Impact 307 isn't the perfect fit for your business, there are so many resources available in Wyoming for small businesses and entrepreneurs. And so we really refer you to, the other resources in the state. So one of those is the Wyoming Business Council, and I'm just going to highlight on a couple things. So they have grants that'll cover 50% of trade shows if you're going to expand your business. And then there's the SBDC, who gives counseling over the Rock Springs Chamber, that's Rob Condi. And then there's the Sweetwater Economic Development Coalition. And there's the Wyoming Workforce Services, and they have an amazing grant that helps small businesses immensely, because they offer reimbursement for 6 interns, 1,040 hours per intern, up to $25 an hour if there's industry data backing that up. There's also really amazing local resources like the Rock Springs Chamber and the Rock Springs Main Street URA, and the Green River Chamber and the Green River Main Street URA. And also, Western Wyoming Community College has a lot of amazing programs, and so does UW. So, if you're a small business or entrepreneur, please reach out and get the help that you need. And I'd like to thank our program sponsors. So the program of Impact Sweetwater is funded by the EDA, and then Skills program is funded by the Wyoming Business Council. And we also had some in-kind donations by the Rock Springs Chamber, the Rock Springs Main Street URA, and the Green River Chamber. And the amazing thing about these regional startup challenges is they're all fundraised locally, and the funds are held locally, so that ensures that it's spent locally. So all the fundraising was done by Rick Lee of the Rock Springs Chamber and Chad Banks of the Rock Springs Main Street URA. And the finalists will be competing tonight for a seed fund totaling $36,500. And there will also be 2 additional $500 awards that will be chosen by the audience tonight. And I'd really like to thank our seed fund sponsors. So that's the Wyoming Innovation Partnership, JP Morgan Chase. And if there's anybody from these organizations, if you could please stand up as we call out your name. So First Bank of Wyoming. State Bank. Commerce Bank. RSNB. And Rocky Mountain Power. Thank you so much. And when people applied to Skill, they not only got the biweekly mentorship to prepare for this competition, but they had a 4-session boot camp. And so we had local professionals tell them what they should consider as they are starting their business. So Ann Mason is an entrepreneur herself. She's based in Laramie. She has a theater company, but she's also willing to travel, across I-80 to tell people how to give engaging presentations. And then the Red, White Buffalo was amazing. They not only taught people what it was like to be entrepreneurs, but they recruited applicants for Skill. So if you haven't been to their shop over in Green River, I strongly encourage that you go check out all those Wyoming-made goods. And meet Bonnie and Barry Tippie. And they also have a bunch of events to support local small businesses. So if you can follow them on Facebook or TikTok, they're all over on social media, so please check them out. And then another boot camp presenter was Springboard Platforms. So that was Kaya Leo. Kaya, are you here? And then we had Hallows and Company. So if Lad Hallows, Kate Hallows, or Adam Roundy are here, could you please stand up? And then we had an amazing legal panel with Charlie Barnum, Clark Stith, and Steve Harton. If you guys could stand up. And then we had Ben Bell and Jeff Kilpack from First Bank of Wyoming. And Cody Bateman and David O'Connell from State Bank. And Tiffany Kindle and Shannon Alum from Commerce Bank. And Ozzie Hay from RSNB. And Ted Ware from Uinta Bank. And so they also got, biweekly counseling from Impact Sweetwater. And then the Wyoming Business Council is sponsoring one-on-one mentorship with professionals for all the finalists. So that one-on-one counseling will be with legal professionals, and that will be with Charlie Barnum, Clark Stith, and Steve Harton. And then also they will be getting one-on-one counseling with Hallows and Company. And then Springboard Platforms has already been counseling them. And so a lot of the logos you see tonight were designed by Kaya Leo. And this background on these slides was designed by Kaya Leo. So she does beautiful work. And I'd like to thank all the semi-finalists and the boot camp attendees. So we had 28 applicants in our first year, and 9 of those were semi-finalists, and even more of those were boot camp attendees. And now I'd like to introduce the pitch night judges. So if Cody Bateman, who is the president and CEO of State Bank, could give a brief introduction.
Hello. Hi, I'm Cody Bateman, president and CEO of State Bank. Wyoming born and raised, proud to be part of a program like this that helps keep our youth in the communities and able to, as having young children, give them opportunities to grow and experience the same thing that most of you feel for Wyoming. So appreciate all the impact and help and the invitation for being here. Fred, Monica, I've dealt with you the most, so it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
And next up, we'll hear from David Kaplan, who's the Director of Communications from Genesis Alkali.
Hi, everyone. Dave Kaplan. I'm the Director of Communications for Genesis Alkali. And I wasn't born in Wyoming, but I certainly got here as soon as I could. That's an old Texas joke. I was in Texas for 10 years with a big utility company, and whenever that line was given out, it usually got a laugh or two. But it's really amazing to be here tonight. It was just a wonderful turnout. Thank you so much for the community, for the support of this program, and let the games begin in a few minutes. Who's next?
So next up is Robin Sessions Cooley, JD, who's the Director of Wyoming Workforce Services.
Good afternoon, good evening. My name is Robin Cooley. I'm the Director of Wyoming Department of Workforce Services. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me. This is my, I think, second, maybe first or second judging opportunity, and it really is an opportunity. The innovative ideas that we see across Wyoming when we do this, it's really remarkable what the entrepreneurs in Wyoming are doing. And I'm thrilled to be a part of it. I'm thrilled to be a part of helping Wyomingites have the opportunity to stay in Wyoming. I actually grew up in Powell and migrated throughout Wyoming and ended up in Cheyenne, but I am definitely a Wyomingite, plan to stay here, and I'm glad to be able to do my part in helping others stay here as well, so thank you.
And next up is Rick Delgarno, Principal Application Engineer of Mark Forged.
Yep. Hi, everybody. My name is Erik Delgarno. I work for a company called Mark Forged. We sell industrial 3D printers. I was born in Casper, but I've been in Laramie for the past 20 years. I'm here mostly because I've been part of the Impact 307 ecosystem. I've been a part of 2 different software startups that were founded in Laramie, and both of those were successfully acquired over the years. The first one in 2013, and the most recent one in 2022. Back in April, so happy to be here and look forward to seeing the competition.
And next up, Rocco O'Neill, who is the Director of Community and Economic Development of the City of Evanston.
Yeah, Rocco O'Neill, Evanston, Wyoming, don't throw things at me. Happy to be here, been working with Fred and Monica for a few years now, excited to work with Derek. Erik and I went to school together, we still hang out. But I'm just excited for this program to come to Southwest Wyoming. It's been a long time coming. Hopefully we can take what we learn here and carry it over to Evanston and UNN Lincoln County. So excited to see what Rock Springs and Green River and the rest of Sweetwater County has to offer. So thank you.
And we'd also like to thank the judges from the previous rounds. So the ones that determined the finalists were Cody Bateman, President and CEO of State Bank, Lisa Herrera, CEO of Green River Chamber, and Rick Lee of the Rock Springs Chamber. And then our semi-finalist judges were Tiffany Kendall, Vice President of Commerce Bank, and Megan Curley, Monica Patton, Reg Meckel of Impact 307. And we couldn't put on an amazing event like this without a bunch of wonderful partners. So we'd like to thank the Rock Springs Main Street URA for providing the Broadway Theater, Springboard Platforms for these beautiful backgrounds of our slides, YO Wifey, and Coltrane Coffee, and Video Pro Productions, and then Copier and Supply, did the programs in the hundreds of flyers that you found all over Sweetwater County, and Christy Austin, photographer. So after the pitches, voting will begin, and I'll give you some instructions, but start thinking about who you want to choose for Audience Choice and for the Job Creator Award. And with that, we'll start the Sweetwater County Innovation Launchpad pitch sessions. So I'd like to introduce to you Dylan Covington of Shop.Custom LLC.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. It is my pleasure to be here. Thank you, judges, Monica, Fred, everybody from Impact 307. This has truly been amazing. Lots of good professionals that I met along the way, and lots of good potential customers out there. So, a little bit about myself first off. I'm Dylan Covington. I was born and raised here in Sweetwater County, grew up in Green River, graduated in Green River, moved over here in my early 20s, whereas now I reside here in Rock Springs. And that's kind of where this whole story starts. A couple years ago, my wife and I, we decided to remodel our house, which was built in 1918. A lot of houses were built, older homes. We ordered our custom cabinet from Home Depot. Oh, and I broke that one. All right, can you hear me now? All right. So we ordered our custom cabinets from Home Depot, and we waited 4 months. After you wait 4 months for your cabinets, you then have to wait 2 weeks from where they're built to install them in your house, or they'll have damage because they won't climatize to, the high altitude and the humidity we have here. I waited 4 months, 2 weeks, open up my boxes finally, and I find damaged cabinets. Luckily, I was able to repair or hide the damage the best I could so that I was able to continue with my kitchen. However, that may not always be the case. If this happens to one of your corner cabinets, you're out 4 more months waiting for them to build you a new cabinet and replace it. So shipping and quality are two huge issues we have. Around here, you also can't get local options, and there's long lead times, 4 to 6 months. I mean, we live in an instant gratification society. That's why Amazon's gotten so popular. And so nobody wants that. So I came up with our solution. I will employ modern technology and create our local solution for custom cabinetry. I'll come to your house, design it, offer you true custom options with nothing but the highest quality and best customer service you could find. This is just some of the modern technology I would like to employ. I've already began using design software, computer-aided design, things like that. So when I come to a customer and I come to their house, I'm able to measure, decide what they want, and then render it, and then we can get from there and get a true feel of exactly what they're looking for in their space. Using a CNC, which is a big machine that you can program, and it'll cut everything out for you, which speeds in time, efficiency, and takes care of a lot of human error. And then eventually employ automation, machines that help you do everything, which actually take more employees to run an automated shop than one without it. Who are my customers? They're homeowners. 75% of people in Sweetwater County own their own home. That's 7% above the national average. And then we've got property owners, contractors, and businesses. Property owners meaning anybody who owns any kind of rentals, anybody who does any kind of leasing of a building for a business. And then, of course, businesses, restaurants, things like that. And then things like commercial buildings, where, when they're in a change of hands, they need to be redone, and people could want to add a bathroom, things like that. Before we get into my market, I want to talk to everybody about what a cabinet is. You all think of a kitchen cabinet when I immediately say that, but cabinets are also your bathroom vanity, your closet solutions, which are becoming more popular, built-ins, which are coming back into style, things like that, bars, anything like that at a restaurant. All of that is actually cabinetry. So, our market. In Sweetwater County, we have a 3-year average of 55.6 new home permits. Around 45 of those houses get completed in the first year. Then our market continues into the remodels and renovations. What is it? 59% of homes in the U.S. were built before 1980. 91% of those homes were built before the year 2001. A design trend in this industry lasts about 10 years. So how many houses are out of date out there? And then most houses don't have finished basements. So that's, another avenue. That's bathrooms. That's another living room. And then retail spaces. As they change hands, people want them different. My competition here. Home Depot, Counterwise, and Lowe's. Lowe's is a little far out there, but that was my closest options. Home Depot does, and Counterwise and Lowe's, they don't offer actual 100% custom designed. If you have an old house that's shifted or changed, they find what they can build that will fit within their parameters. And then you still have to wait. You don't have short lead times. Local availability. Home Depot and Counterwise, yes, you can go and get them locally. But the money doesn't always stay here. Home Depot's cabinets are, that's a big box store. Who knows where that money all goes? And then Counterwise, all of their cabinets are actually built in Salt Lake City. High quality materials. Counterwise does offer that. I would offer, I would do my best to always obtain the highest quality materials to make everything I build timeless. And then direct to customer. That takes care of the shipping problem. Wherever, you don't have to go get it. You just, after I'm done with it, you come by and pick it up, or I bring it to you. To market my product, I will employ the use of social media. I use social media, most people in here do. It's an inexpensive, if not completely free way of marketing your product and marketing towards homeowners. As that industry grows, that's a great place. I will also become members of the Rock Springs Chamber, Green River Chamber, and BNI. I was previously a member of BNI, and I plan on getting back to that. And doing networking. Also, outside sales, vendor fairs, the home holiday show, everything like that. And then also I would like to give back to the community with local sponsorships and everything, and that's also another great way to get your name out there. My sales strategy, it's pretty straightforward. I meet with a customer, I take measurements, we come up with a plan. Then I design it, we come up with exactly what they want, we go over it, change it, we get the final specs. Then we sign a contract and take a deposit on the product, and we set a timeline for when they would like the project to be done. Then acquire the materials, complete the build, and then deliver the product and finalize payment. It's pretty simple and straightforward there. My revenue model, I would base mostly single sale, which is custom units, custom vanity, a closet, a built-in, things like that, or one single kitchen. Bulk sale, that would be somebody who has an entire slew of apartments. They need to redo all of the bathrooms, so they buy 20 cabinets, all identical. That would be where that comes in. Contract sale, when you get picked up by a contractor to go and do a job. Say, come finalize, I need you to come help me finish this basement. They want a big built-in, custom vanity, and nightstands that hang on the wall. And you just come in and you're there for the entirety of the job. And then small projects, which is currently what I do most, cutting boards, charcuterie boards, planter boxes, things like that for people. My projected cash flow. So starting off slow, just building my revenue, getting it up to where I can get, hopefully by the beginning of year 3, be in a commercial space, multiple employees, potentially a install crew, things like that. So here we are. This is where we are at now, is right over here. By January 2023, begin the final phase into cabinetry. Slow down doing the small projects, become way more apt into scheduling, getting into more, really pushing the business as hard as I can. December, kind of the last year to do small projects, craft fairs, things like that, getting my name out there and getting people taken care of that way. Beginning of January 24, continue to scale up sales, hire a first employee if that doesn't happen sooner. With a first employee, I would employ the grant that Wyoming Business Council does so that I can take an apprentice. 24, continue scaling up and begin looking for a commercial space. Get out of the garage and hire more employees. And then by the beginning of 2025, be in a commercial space, have a crew, and a large scale operation. And with that, I'll open it up for questions. Thank you very much.
was great, Dylan. Thank you so much. So, you know, when people think about custom anything, they think it's going to be expensive, high-priced. And I'm just curious, in relation to some of the big box stores and the others, you know, is it going to be affordable to go this route for most people, or is it going to be just for sort of high-end customers?
No, absolutely. I will have, you know, be able to do value lines and be able to do a custom cabinet that really fits any budget for any customer. And, you know, you want high-end, I can do high-end. If you just want, you know, what you can get, you know, something, I can do that too, you know. It'll still be of the highest quality, but I can make it less expensive.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's great.
Yeah, my question has to do with the current sales. I know you talked about, you did the cabinets in your home remodel. Have you sold any cabinets to anyone else, any friends, family, anyone else to install in a new home or a remodel?
So currently, I do have one job, supposed to be doing that in December, of 2 large built-ins for a friend of mine. And then I've gotten quite a few other calls and everything. Just lately, I just haven't been able to keep up with Christmas rolling around and doing the other stuff that I had been doing to help continue to build my business the way I had.
You talk about acclimation of the wood and those pieces. Do you have enough space right now? And I guess planned out how that would scale as you continue to pick up work and jobs. And, you know, I don't think that you would probably do, and maybe you would, maybe explain a little more on the process of an entire kitchen, or can you phase in the next job as you're completing your existing job?
Absolutely. So I would plan on, currently I have 1,200 square feet of space, which is a relatively large size shop. I can, scaling up, yes, I would, you know, there's always something you could be doing while something else is going on. So I do have the storage space and everything, and then the acclimating and everything is all done in my garage. When I purchased my wood, I actually let it acclimate before I ever begin working on it, which also helps with that process and cuts down on that time. So.
Thank you, Dylan. Excellent presentation. I appreciate what you're doing here. My husband's a contractor, so he sees what you've seen a lot with some of the big box orders that he's made. My question, though, is lead time. You've talked about it a lot, but how are you going to cut down on that time? You've talked about it, but how much do you think you can cut down on that time frame? Because I know we talk about custom. There's still going to be some time in there. There's still going to be time that, you know, you've given us what you think your timeline is going to be in there. How is that going to compare to ordering something from a box store?
So currently, what I would try to always shoot for would be probably around like a 4 to 6 week lead time. You know, from the finalizing of the design to the delivery of the product. You know, there's some of that comes with, depending on what materials people may want or anything, may have to push that back a little bit. But what I would always shoot for would be 4 to 6 weeks. And just keeping high scheduling, you know, and then always scaling up. You know, if I get to the point where I can't meet the 4 to 6 weeks by myself, don't wait, hire the employee, you know, and keep going. If you don't have enough storage space, get the building. You know, you can't, you know, you just got to keep going and keep striving forward.
Some of my questions have already been asked, but one question I have is the local kind of lumber scene. Are you able to purchase locally all the lumber and, you know, plywood and materials that you need to make these cabinets, or do you need to go somewhere to, like Utah, for example, to pick up some of the more exotic woods?
For a lot of the exotics, I would have to go to Utah currently. But because there is no demand for it here, is why there is no option for that, really. However, a lot of the plywood, things like that, I could get up here. And a lot of places, you know, they do deal with, you can get it, you just have to ask, so.
And then my second question here is, I think relationships with and home builders is going to be important. So do you have any relationship with contractors or home builders Or if not, how would you plan to kind of get your foot in the door there?
So I do have relationship with a couple contractors. Not, I haven't done any work for them or anything yet, just more personal relationships. And they, did tell me that this was a great idea. They'd love to see this around here. Outside sales would be one, whether it be me or somebody else, going and knocking on doors to these contractors and creating that relationship. Bringing sample products, things like that, to bring it to them and show what you can do. It'd be the way to go, I believe. Okay. We have a few more minutes if anybody else has any other questions.
Give me a quick second to run up there.
Currently, yes. What's my markup? So I use a magic formula to do my products. Cost of labor, cost of materials, and then a multiplier. And I can tell you the multiplier later.
Perfect. Any final questions? Rocco.
Yeah, Dylan, can you talk a little bit about some of the equipment that you outlined in your business plan and how that fits with scaling up to some of these projects? What pieces of equipment are sort of critical in that initial startup phase?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically you could say the table saw is the heart of a cabinet shop, heart of a workshop. It's the most used piece of equipment. It's the most useful as far as expandability, capability. That's where a lot of the work is done. And then you get into like the CNC, where that would be used especially for scaling up, because it can do a lot of the work for you, and it becomes a employee virtually to begin with. Obviously, eventually, you have to have somebody that can run it so you can go do other things. And then, yeah, I mean, there's tons of equipment, automation equipment they make now, where it picks up the sheet of plywood, moves it over here, brings it to this guy, he does his job, and it picks it up and takes it over to this guy so he can do his job.
Do you own any of these pieces of equipment currently?
Yes, I own a hobbyist's table saw. It's not a professional table saw, but right now it's getting the job done. I don't own a CNC. I own a CNC laser, but not a CNC carving machine. Router, a lot of the things I do own already, so.
As Monica talked about at the beginning, that these awards can be spread among all the finalists. How would you rank in your ask list? What would be the most important piece to you?
In my ask list, I put them basically in order for you, being the table saw being number one, first and foremost, and then the track saw, then the CNC machine.
I'm sorry, I had a question for you, and I was writing that down, and I forgot what it was, so never mind. Must not have been important.
Well, there's always time after.
Alrighty. Thank you much, Dylan.
Yeah, thank you guys.
We're going to have with Meritical.
I've been a fitness instructor longer than a speaker, and you don't want to see me loose on a stage with a mic. So I'm probably going to just plant myself right here. My name is Amanda Finch, and I'm here tonight to introduce Meritical Healthcare or Health Solutions. The reason I am here to introduce this new practice is to address a gap in the healthcare continuum. Now, this gap can best be explained by Dr. Frank Lipman, and he states on his website, and I quote, "Doctors are taught to treat isolated symptoms, not prevent disease." And this upset him. He actually left, went on sabbatical, went back to school, traveled the world, and when he came back to his practice in New York, he brought holistic health care practices with him. Now I'm going to walk you through the reason I decided to finish my schooling and get board certified. This is my daughter, Redden. She was diagnosed with eczema, allergies, and asthma as a young girl, and we treated it like anything else. We had the medications, and it kept everything under control for her to enjoy all the sports and other things that she enjoyed. She went to college, actually playing soccer, and as a freshman, she was 140 pounds. Well, in college, we don't always eat the right things and take care of ourselves. And some of those events and eating foods she was allergic to triggered her immune system. And this aggressive athlete had an even more aggressive immune system. And her medications were masking a bigger problem that we weren't aware of. She came home at 106 pounds, head to toe with painful rashes, and her immune system had made excessive amounts of spike proteins that lined her esophagus, making it difficult to eat. We tried one more round of medications, and her immune system got angry and did the exact opposite of what we thought it would do. So we took the functional nutrition route and got her an IV full of essential vitamins and nutrition right here at IV to drip in Rock Springs. I don't have the pictures, but she spiraled and was actually at 85 pounds when we made this decision to go nutrition instead of medication. This is her spring of 2022, and she's actually here with us tonight. Now, I am not discrediting doctors or medications. They are critical, they are life-saving. I am here because I feel like if we can intervene before there's a need for that, we will all be in a lot better shape. Now, autoimmune disease can start in any of the 9 systems of the body, but if they escalate, they're deadly. In fact, according to the CDC, 70% of all deaths in the United States are linked to autoimmune disease. If you go to autoimmune.org, they have done over 377,000 clinical studies in all 50 states and spanning 220 countries that show autoimmune disease are the most preventable, as well as responding better to nutrition and medication. So how does that affect Wyoming? Our statistics are worse. 80% of deaths in Wyoming are attributed, to preventable autoimmune disease. Now, if we want to address a symptom, we need to look at the whole system. Where is it coming from? We need to dive into the soil and look at the nutrition and find the root causes. And that's what I do. I sit down with a client and we define the pain points. We look into the nutrition, we find the system that it's coming from, and we develop a plan. We implement those protocols, we track it with a customized health and wellness plan. So these points obviously can be repeated as we define. I will yell, that is not my strong point. All my students know that. This one? You don't want to step into the mic. Check. Oh. Is this one heavy too? Gonna tip over on me? Yay, could you hear any of that? Yeah. Okay, good, because I don't know if I could start over. I'm shaking up here. One solution I do use is the infrared light therapy. As I mentioned with Raina, this is what reduced the inflammation, opened up the esophagus, and we were able to teach her stomach how to receive and process food again. My customers typically, they can be in person, they can be online, any age at any stage, but typically there's someone that is dedicated to their health. Change isn't easy. Maybe they're an outlier like Raina, whose medications caused more problems than good for her. I also have commercial clients. With my licensing, I am able to order high quality supplements in bulk at wholesale prices. And I plan to actually hire an employee that would handle those vendor accounts specifically. Now this map is all of the functional nutrition clinics in the United States. Meritical would be the first in Wyoming, and with the online practice I already have in place, I essentially don't have borders when I see people online. I plan to hire at least 9 employees that can focus into the different areas of autoimmune disease. So when a client comes in and we do those initial assessments, I can assign them to the most qualified counselor for their needs. As we grow as a team and get more training and education, I would like all the counselors to be certified in every area and offer them the opportunity to franchise and start their own clinic. And I would use the internship programs to facilitate that. Now, the market for clinic services by 2026 is estimated to be a $73.6 million market, and the Wyoming market share would be valued at $12.8 million. Now, the supplement market, completely separate, sports nutrition, fat burners, dietary supplements, and your functional foods, that is a market that's growing consistently at 5.5%. The Wyoming market share in 2021 was $15.3 billion. Now, 80% of deaths in Wyoming were nutritionally related to autoimmune diseases, and they are preventable. We are buying the things. We just don't have anyone to guide us in how to use them. Now, this competition slide was the most difficult for me because holistic health care and wellness is a very broad term. We have a handful of clinics, one in Rock Springs, one in Green River, and one in Salt Lake. And I have used all 3 facilities, and they're phenomenal at what they do. We all just do different things. I am the only local functional nutrition counselor. I'll be the second to offer the harmonic light therapy. Actually, my friend and mentor who helped with Raina actually is the first one, and she's here as well. I want to thank her for that. I'll be the first to offer the non-invasive testing equipment, as well as 24-hour access to discounted nutritional products. Now, the best marketing strategy for any business is going to be word of mouth. So I need to pride myself and always offer those great products and excellent customer service. I am currently building an email or a website as well where people can sign up for emails, getting tips, tricks, and information, even recipes to support their interest and their need. There is a subscription portion there as well where they can essentially connect with a counselor and the clinic. Social media is going to be essential because functional nutrition is new to our area and not many people know what it is. So I will use social media to put those things out there and pique the interest and guide people back to that website. And being a long-term coach, I definitely will always support local activities for our youth. My sales and channel strategy, again, 100% client-focused. I offer specialty services. I'm easily accessible, and I'm always going to find a way to make it affordable. My revenue model is first the individual services, next the monthly memberships, and finally the supplements, both individual and commercial accounts. And in the future, I would like to add in there the franchising as well as a nonprofit portion to my company. This is a 3-year cash overview. Now, this consolidates the different revenue streams, shows me the best time to hire, to move into a bigger facility, and how that will affect us. So I have these on a separate slide, a little bit more detailed. Year 1, I want to purchase and implement the new testing equipment, and that is actually why I joined Impact and applied for this grant. So I can hit the road running with equipment that lets me get to those root problems a little bit faster. Then I'd like to hire 2 part-time employees, one for the clinic and one to handle the social media and marketing aspects. Using that, I would like to go right into year 3, hiring at least 4 to build that team of counselors and move into a bigger space. And then year 3, quarter 1, 2, it kind of slides over. That's where we actually started to see the exponential growth due to the online marketing and those social media pushes. And using that momentum, I would like to purchase a whole cap machine, and that is like the biggest, most effective detox machine in the world. It's FDA cleared, and it's safe, even for the worst systemic problems, including cancer. That is my slide presentation. I wanted to thank everybody for being here tonight, the mentors, the sponsors, Impact 307, and especially our judges. You guys have a much harder job than we do. So, do we have questions? Yay.
Hey, Amanda, this is Rocco here. Forgive me, I'm not very familiar with the holistic medicine field. So I guess my question is, where do a majority of the functional nutrition referrals come from? Where would a majority of your referrals come from?
Right now, I am running a different wellness practice. It's just smaller. Right now, it's word of mouth, and at times I get overwhelmed.
As your map showed, we see across the country that this is becoming more and more of a medical solution. And at what point do you anticipate, if any, that you'll be able to accept insurance payments and that the healthcare, those type of payments and solutions will be available?
That is a great question, and I was going the wrong direction. These buttons are upside down, and I knew it. There are current acts before Congress now. I have a training next month on Medicaid and Medicare. It will change with presidencies and things like that, but right now I can accept a lot of times flex spending or health savings accounts. But the different acts that were in place have been shut down due to the doctors have to get more education in order to be the ones prescribing this. And the doctors and the schools were like, no, that's not going to happen. So it's just in Congress now, and we're hoping by 2026.
Thank you so much for your presentation. It was really great. I don't know much about this field either.
They're ornery. Do we want this one?
Can you hear me now? There we go.
Yeah.
But here are my questions as I'm looking at your ask letter. 2 things. You indicate you would like the request for the Nerve Express computer diagnostic system, and you say so you can move into a different location or more accommodating location. If you could explain that, because I think that what you're saying there is that in itself is going to help build your clientele, I think is what you're going to say. But also, going back to your competitor graph there, do any of your competitors have this same diagnostic tool?
They do not, as far as I know. The Nerve Express. I don't know how long we have to hold the button. There, maybe? Okay. Not locally. The closest one I know of that I've actually used is in Fairfield, Utah. And just personally, my family has gone down and used it to have our stats done. And what it will do for me is streamline a process that sometimes can take 8 weeks. And it actually helps pinpoint things in the nervous system to really just move that down to a 2-week period rather than 6. So I can see more clients.
So I'm just looking at kind of your hiring as the years go on.
Right.
Initially, it sounds like it's just going to be you. I'm just thinking about running a business and all the overhead involved there, like accounting and taxes, and not to mention like booking clients and talking to them and treating them. But over time, you're going to hire new people.
Right.
What types of qualifications are you looking for, and are there plenty of people out there that meet those qualifications that you could hire, or is it difficult to find people to fill the slots you need to fill?
You asked 2 questions there a little bit, if I'm hearing you right. The first part, financially, I was actually in finance for 20 years, right out of high school, and that's what I did. The current wellness practice I run, I use a software called Practice Better. It handles my scheduling, sends me notification, I can communicate with clients. So that has been pretty manageable so far. It's just finding enough hours in the day. The next part of your question, it hasn't been hard. The school I went to has set up a group chat and different ways for us as colleagues as we grew through the student stuff, and now we're colleagues and we reach out to each other. I actually have 2 considering moving here. One lady is in Evanston now, and she plans on retiring soon from her other job, and she's considering coming to help. So I have some people reaching out, and I do have avenues to find more.
Amanda,
Yes, sir.
first of all, thank you for sharing that story about your daughter. I found it very compelling. My oldest daughter's going through something similar right now. She went to Mexico about 9 months ago last winter and came back with giardia. And after several rounds of antibiotics, I think she kicked that problem, but is still having kind of lasting effects. So she recently believes, talking with some friends and so on, that she may have some type of autoimmune disorder. And she's starting to look into this holistic health. And I guess my question to you is, how do we get people to change their mindset that, you know, we've put our faith over the last 100 years into the American medical community, and they've done a fantastic job keeping us well and keeping us healthy. But I agree with you that they may not have all the answers. So how do we get people to believe in holistic health and get them encouraged to go see people like yourself?
Well, first, I'm sorry that she's going through that, and I know the medications are life-saving, and sometimes they just have a harsher side effect than we're prepared to handle. This slide actually is coming out of Europe. It's so much bigger over there. It's new to our country. It's the backbone of our country. We've got big pharma and we've got big medicine. But the European Society for Clinical Nutrition and Metabolism issued official guidelines for their ICUs just for COVID. They're using COVID or nutritional protocols to treat COVID rather than the medications that are destroying people's kidneys. So I think also pain is a good teacher, whether it's physical pain or emotional, watching someone go through it. And fortunately, that's where we are. We either wait till someone we love is in pain and there aren't solutions, or we ourselves are in that position.
One more? I've got one more question. You indicated some of your clients were through telehealth. And I just wondered, you mentioned your licensing also, and I wondered if there were any licensing implications cross borders with that.
There aren't. The board certifications that I have is through the American Association of Drugless Practitioners, and it is coast to coast.
All right, thank you, Amanda.
Thank you.
Up next, we have Nick Walworth with Wild Sage Market.
This is the good one. The good one is-
Is the mic working? Awesome. Got a spare? All right, everybody. Again, my name is Nick Walworth. I'm the president of Wild Sage Market, and we are a group of volunteers trying to get a co-op grocery store started in Sweetwater County. There's essentially three problems that build on themselves here in Sweetwater County. First is there's customers out there that are looking for more local options, more healthy options. And then there's also producers out there that are looking for ways to sell their products more locally and directly to the consumer. And then all that kind of builds on itself, and there's lots of money in the local economy that's leaving Sweetwater County and Wyoming for these different types of products. In 2017, we did a poll of our members, and these were the top four things they wanted to see in something in Sweetwater County. And that solution is Wild Sage Market, a community-owned full-service grocery store. This is a community-owned store, so that means that when you buy a membership, you're an actual owner in the business. You have a voting right. You get to say what happens to the revenue of that store and or the profits of that store. Also, we're going to focus on providing as many locally produced foods as we possibly can. Obviously, we can't grow a whole heck of a lot around here in Sweetwater County, but we can. We will be a full-service grocery store where you can get everything on your list, your grocery list, at this particular store. Now, in 2017, there was a retail gap assessment, and what it found was that a store like Wild Sage Market would be a great fit in Sweetwater County and Green River. We've received lots of support from Green River URA, Main Street and Sweetwater County Economic Development Coalition, just to name a few of folks that have supported us in the past and right now. Our customers, our best customers are the ones that are going out and doing the grocery shopping for the family. These customers want to support local. They also want healthy options for them and their families. In 2020, Wild Sage Market did a market study. In that market study, there was essentially two demographics in Sweetwater and Uena counties that were identified that would be the major supporters of a store like Wild Sage Market. What we found was we would need roughly 10% of these folks to become members and to be supporters of Wild Sage Market to make this thing a reality. Now, what's the slice of the pie that we're looking for? These are the grocery demand in Sweetwater County and the local area, and then on top of that, this is roughly the amount of money that's leaving Sweetwater County and Wyoming to get some of these specialty items and health care and personal care items that Wild Sage Market is looking to carry. And as I've mentioned, Wild Sage Market's going to be, have clean, conventional. It's going to be health focused. It's going to have as many locally sourced options as we can, and then it's going to be as accessible and as quick and convenient as any other grocery store. As you can see, none of our competitors can check all those boxes, but we can. Our marketing strategy from day one has been to get out and start to educate the community in why Wild Sage Market is going to be a great thing for this community. We've done we've been to, as you know, parades. We've been to lots of events. We try to make almost every farmers market in Rock Springs and Green River. We've been on the radio. We also do a pop-up market. We try to do one every year where we invite vendors and we just promote Wild Sage Market. And because the co-op, this type of business strategy is a little new to Wyoming and Southwest Wyoming, there's a lot of education that needs to happen. So we try to talk to as many people as we can and explain to them the process and what we're actually doing. Our sales strategy, we have a very well put together website that's very easy to use. You can log on and become a member right now on your phone if you'd like. Also, you can come talk to us at any of the events that I mentioned and talk to us face to face and become a member, you know, right there on the spot. Our revenue model, we kind of have three basic streams of revenue that we're looking for. The day-to-day operations are funded by these fundraisers, private donations, and sales of, we kind of sell honey, local honey from up in Farson. We also sell some sauerkraut from Farmer Fred up in Lander. We also do some raffles, and we have some merchandise we sell. The thing we're actually looking for, what we're really trying to do, is sell member equity shares so we can get the grocery store up and running. And then later down the road, we're looking to have a capital campaign where we're going to be selling dividend shares. Those dividend shares are going to kind of bring it home and actually where we can actually open up the grocery store. Now our cash flow, so the red bars are the membership sales every month. As you can see, there is a month where it usually dies off. Where it dies off, that's the holiday season. We've seen in the past that it's been very tough to sell memberships to Wild Sage Market in the holiday season. But immediately after that, when we start doing events, our sales really starts to go up. And then one thing I wanted to note on the cash balance, we are not spending any of the memberships that we sell until we have enough support from the community to where we can actually get a location in a store. All right, so there's one other food co-op in the state of Wyoming, and it's in Laramie, and we base these numbers off their market, and we really expect similar results. Now we are working with a nonprofit, national nonprofit called Food Co-op Initiative. And essentially what they do is they help communities like Green River, Rock Springs, Sweetwater County to bring a co-op grocery store into their community. This is their 4-stage plan on the right, and we are currently at stage 2. We have 318 members. This is a hardened, or a very well thought out plan. It's made very successful co-ops in the past, and we're looking to do the same here. In 2023, we're looking to hire a consultant to complete a pro forma. We're looking to get some yard signs so we can, folks that are members can start putting those in their yards and start spreading the word a little bit more about Wild Sage Market. And then when we do hit that 800 member mark, we are going to execute a capital campaign and then start to hire a general manager, build a store, and hire staff. We're looking at hiring at least 15 staff on top of a general manager. Now, when we do open the store, we will have shelf space for local producers. We're going to have, this is going to be a place where entrepreneurs can come and have things to sell directly to the local economy, or to the locals here in Sweetwater County. And with that, I just want to thank Impact, the judges, all the sponsors, all the competitors, And with that, I'll take any questions.
Thanks, Nick. Great idea. How, in a business like this, how do you control when you're looking at organic and I guess your quality control of the food and the products that are within the store when you're trying to source those from as many local people as you can? Obviously, food's important to everyone, but cleanliness of that food too is when you look at the health department and the inspections.
Right. So there is a handful of rules. Wyoming is one of the better states for that, as far as like the ease in selling to the community. But that will essentially fall on the general manager that we hire. Their job is to make sure that we get vendors that are good vendors and have good product.
Nick, my question is kind of about the location of this market. Do you guys have a few sites in mind? And then are you looking at new construction, or are you maybe looking to do a remodel of an existing space? What would be the pros and cons there?
That's a great question, and something that we've all talked about. So right now we do have a handful of sites that we're looking at or would like to be in Green River. Right now we don't have enough, in my other slide here. We don't have enough support yet, members yet, to start putting money down for a site, so we can't do anything special like that. But as far as new and old, there's obviously pros and cons. For a new building, you can get exactly what you want. An old building, you can add to the character of the community and things like that. We have looked at both. Right now, we need to sell memberships and get to a point where we have enough backing from the community to where we can make those fun and cool decisions.
Thanks, Nick. Great presentation. My question is on your competitors graph. I'm sorry, I'm not real familiar with grocery stores in Green River. I've been to a few, but not too many. One of your statements in here, I'm not sure who it was from, said we need something like Whole Foods. And then on your graph, it said one of your competitors was Whole Foods. So who are your actual competitors, grocery stores in Green River?
So in Green River, it has one, and it's Smith's.
Smith's, okay. And the Smith's was the second one on your graph that had very few of the qualities that you were going to have, right?
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
Yeah, we can go back. But yeah.
And I forget so one of them was Whole Foods and one of them was, thank you, okay, Thrive and local producers, okay. Okay, thank you, that helps me.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey Nick, great presentation, man. In your slides you mentioned that Kayla with the Green River URA was in support of the project, and you also talked about the Big Hollow in Laramie. That was a Wyoming Business Council project. And I know the temperature of the Business Council changes based on who's on the board and who's in charge, and I think they do an excellent job, don't get me wrong. I just wonder if you've discussed maybe a similar grant application project to the Big Hollow in Laramie, leveraging some of those memberships as match in a grant application. If Kayla or Kylie are here, you're welcome for volunteering you to do a Business Council grant. But that may be an option to move forward. And I had a second item. It must not be important.
I will say yes. We have been in contact with Big Hollow, and we've talked with them a bunch, and that is, yes, we'd love to go down that path of pursuing a grant like that.
I guess, again, if you're here, I'm sorry. What's the feedback you've been receiving from them? Is it positive? Do they want you to kind of meet a certain threshold? Is there engagement on the Business Council side of things?
So we've just had initial talks, and what essentially I've gained from them is we need to get a few more members before we start going down that path. So it's been fine, I guess.
Nick, thanks for the presentation. I think it's a great concept. I've always loved shopping in the co-ops as much as just seeing the people in the co-op. It's a pretty cool crowd usually. And there's a great co-op, I think it's a co-op up in Bozeman that I always try to stop in when I pass through there. But when I read through your proposal, I was struck by the fact that when the store opens, if I'm reading it correctly, there's going to have to be a heavy reliance on essentially the sandwich shop, the prepared foods that people will come in and pick up. Was I reading that correctly, that has to really generate a lot of the revenue, and I guess while they're there, then the customers will pick up some other things, but that's one of the reasons why people go there is to eat, to get a sandwich or something really good to eat.
Yeah, and that was something that was really pointed out in the market study that we did in 2020. That was something that, that needs to carry the store for a little bit, for sure.
All right, and we have an audience question up over here.
So have you thought about launching a local crowdfunding campaign to raise initial capital and promote awareness?
So have you thought of a crowdfunding campaign for this?
We've definitely, the board has thrown it around. I do think it's a good idea. I think we need to make sure it's at the right time, but that's a great idea. Do you want to come to our next board meeting?
Any other questions from the audience? Up over here.
Do like local small businesses like Daily Needs or doing like kind of like that as well?
So we have a good partnership with Daily Need. They actually have a wild stage market sourdough. We get $1 per loaf of bread. Yeah, they've been a great partner.
Perfect. We have about time for one more question. Anyone? Right here.
So my question for you is really about location. I find it interesting that you're going over to Green River, and that seems like that's the place that it really needs to go, or that's where you would like it to go.
Mm-hmm.
So my question for you is why do you feel like Green River is a better market to go ahead and make this be successful rather than trying to pull something over into Rock Springs, which has a larger population?
Yeah, that's a great question. So Green River only has one grocery store. Rock Springs has multiple, and there's a lot of folks in the community, especially in Rock Springs, that drive by Green River to go to some of the other competitors when they're leaving the state. So we think that having it in Green River, one, offering another choice in Green River is important, and then also if we're offering the right things at the right prices and it's local, we think those folks are gonna travel that 10 miles or 12 miles.
Perfect. Great job, Nick.
Thank you.
And up next, we have the Redden family.
Ladies and gentlemen, judges, my name is Glen and Reddon. This is my wife, Mindy, and together we actually already operate a livestock operation dealing with cattle and swine and goats, and we ran into some issues, especially dealing with 2020, and it was available slaughter and butchering animals for our clients and getting our clients those accesses. So we just decided to go ahead and open our own, and our information will follow. We're located in Farson. Our family raises livestock, actually, like I said, and we also provide animals for 4-H clubs and FFA clubs locally.
So obviously, the biggest problem is that there's a gap in serviceability. As of right now, there are currently only 5 meat processing facilities in southwest Wyoming. Out of those 5, there's only 3 of them that have slaughter capabilities. The one in Sweetwater County does not. So as you can imagine, that creates a lot of problems for livestock producers when they're trying to get their livestock processed. Most of them don't have the time or the means to slaughter an animal, hang it, and then deliver it to a facility in a sanitary manner. So that eliminates that facility as an option and pushes the business outside of Sweetwater County, if not out of the state. Well, those facilities are already overwhelmed, so that massively compounds the wait times. And we've seen that firsthand. Our last litter, we had 7 pigs we sold to customers here, and we had to haul them 3 hours to get them processed. We couldn't ask our customers who've already invested a decent amount of money on purchasing the animal and then paying for processing to add the cost and the time to drive 3 hours just to pick up their product. The facility we took them to was great. We heard nothing but great things about them. The service was amazing, but we absorbed that cost. That is not efficient for anybody. So, of course, our solution is to open a plant. We're going to start with a custom cuts processing facility. So to start with, we're only going to be selling the service. We're not going to be selling individually packaged products to start, but that will change. So our facility is going to have the option or have ability to have on-site slaughtering. So that's going to give us the ability to process the animal from start to finish. We're going to have an extra cooler so we can properly age the meat to get it to top quality. We're going to have added equipment so that we can have added value options such as your smoked and your cured meats. We're going to set some processes in place so we can be efficient and we can also make sure that the customers get their product back. We're going to be flexible. So if a customer prefers paper wrapped versus vacuum sealed, we're going to have that ability to be customized. When we look at our customers, it's really easy to picture our main customers as farmers and ranchers, but that's not really the case. They're the largest supplier, but our customers are the people that they sell their livestock to. Those are the people that are reaching out to get their animals processed. So that can be anybody from somebody that just wants to put a locally grown raised product in their freezer, somebody that's got dietary restrictions that wants clean eating options. Of course, our local 4-H and FFA buyers and participants. As we transition to a state certified facility, that will give us the ability to sell individually packaged meat. That's going to broaden our customer base significantly. We're going to add distributors and even add maybe a person that doesn't have room in their house for a deep freeze that only wants to buy a prime rib for a special occasion, or a smaller family that just needs 40 pounds of meat at a time. We're very fortunate in our business venture that the market in Sweetwater County is untapped. The demand for domestic meat processing has been on the rise, but the availability has pretty much remained stagnant. It's estimated right now there's 21,000 head of cattle in Sweetwater County. Last year alone, Wyoming reported $1.8 million in revenue from this industry. So with 21,000 cattle, not even including swine, sheep, lambs, there is a massive opportunity for us to contribute to that number. And we have 43,000 people in Wyoming, in Sweetwater County. So we've got the people, we've got the supply. So the opportunity for the market is wide open for us. When it comes to competition, there really isn't a lot of direct competition in Sweetwater County. The facility in Green River, they target a different sector of the customer base with their business model. For example, our business model is going to be set to accommodate local livestock producers by having on-site slaughter. That's going to assist our customers by giving them quick and a lot more efficient serviceability options for processing. The next closest thing is your local grocery store meat departments. With those, it can be almost unknown where the meat comes from, how it was fed, and how it was processed up to where it hit the meat display. It's a lot harder to customize your orders when you do that. So along with that,
we're also going to provide some systems that will separate us a little bit more. We're going to have a system that's going to create lot numbers and batch numbers that are going to correlate with each customer order and provide a little bit of trackability for the customer to make sure they get their product back. Our systems are also going to make sure that each order is customized and tailored to fit each customer's need, because our goal is to be flexible to fit each need. Our marketing strategy, our customer relationships are going to be our biggest and number one asset. There is no better way to grow your business than developing customer relations. Customer relationships are always going to be our number one priority. However, alongside that, of course, we're going to do online marketing. I don't know how you could ever market without going online now, these days. So with Facebook and Instagram, of course, we can have an instant access to our customers. We can reach further customers, give updates very quickly. Coinciding with that, we do plan on developing and supporting our community by doing a co-marketing. We believe in supporting our community, and the benefit with co-marketing is it's not going to just benefit us, but it's also going to benefit the other company as well. And of course, last but not least, is community involvement. There's a lot to be said for the organic growth that can come of this, whether it is event sponsorship or an internship. Community involvement is one of the purest forms of business growth. Our sales channel is pretty basic. It's a direct point of sale at the counter. We can accommodate phone orders, but of course there is still a direct transaction that happens when the product is dropped off and delivered. As we work towards a custom or a state certified facility, we're going to add a distribution network in there, but we will still be able to handle a direct point of sale. We'll never get rid of that. The revenue model there again is pretty basic. We produce a service and we make revenue off of each service that's requested. On average, we're looking about $210 revenue from goat, about $375 per swine, and about $800 per beef. Of course, that's always going to vary depending on the weight of the animal and the added value products requested by the customer. But it's still a very basic revenue model. Every time they request a service, there's revenue developed from that service. Our cash flow, this 3-year estimate is based off of us utilizing a steel building that we currently already own. That's going to help keep our overhead costs down. We anticipate the first year, or the first 6 months, averaging about 24 head a month. First year, our goal is 60 head a month, 60 to 80. And then by the third year, we want to be running 160 head a month. This also accounts for hiring employees as the demand increases and adding more equipment to expand our added value options. And you'll see that every year there's a 2-month increase in revenue. Those spikes are accounting for the rise in demand from our local 4-H and FFA projects. We are required to get a handful of approvals from the state in the business that we are going into. So of course that does take time. So unfortunately, we are not open yet. However, our target opening date is August of 2023. As we work towards transitioning to state certified, that of course, again, is going to take time and revenue to acquire the particular equipment to make that happen. So our goal for that date is July of 2024, and in September of 2024, we are going to hopefully start making some solid relationships with distributors to expand our market. We do have some information on where we got our market research, if anybody's interested. And I cannot thank everybody involved in this program enough for the amount of learning and growth and development that we've gotten in the last few months. Thank you.
At this time, any questions?
I sure do. Thank you so much for the presentation. I have a question on your timeline. I'm not clear. You talked about your certification process, and I wasn't clear how long that was going to take. And then during that certification process, you wanted to buy the equipment. So are you going to have equipment, your assets then, that are going to be sitting there while you're still getting your certification process? Or how are you going to make sure, how are you going to fit that all into your timeline, I guess is what I'm asking.
As soon as we get approved by the state to begin construction, we've already acquired some equipment, the coolers, the freezers, some of the saws and stuff like that. So there's other things that we do need to acquire. And with the process of dealing with the DEQ and the state, we have to have approval for that before we can begin construction. Once we begin construction through that, it should be a relatively quick process. And our equipment shouldn't just be sitting beyond that point.
So as we transition to a state certified, I think that was more what you were asking about, the state certification. The state certification comes down to our facility setup and the required equipment. So we have to acquire certain equipment to be state certified, and from the revenue from production from the first year is how we're going to obtain that.
So my question kind of is about your kind of longer term strategy here. It sounds like you're going to initially operate as just a, sorry if I get this term wrong, but just a whole animal slaughter and packaging. I'm thinking about two of these places in Laramie that offer similar services. They actually offer retail services, so you can, as a customer, you can walk in, you can order just a cut of meat, and walk out the door with that. You don't have to actually bring the whole animal in there. So curious about retail expansion in the future, and then also thinking about these two places in Laramie. They've got partnerships with local restaurants, so those local restaurants serve meat that's been processed at those facilities. So two alternate revenue streams for you guys. I'm just curious if you're thinking about those for the future.
Yes, starting out, we're going to go operate under as a custom processing, which in that, it's essentially the customer will bring us the animal that they want packaged, and that animal cannot be sold just by stake. It can only go to the customer for their private use. Once we're state certified and we retail all that, if an animal is to be sold by the package, then we will have an on-site slaughter inspector, and it'll be inspected from the point when it's brought into the facility to when it leaves. And that's where we'll be able to access more of the retail sector of this.
So yes, as far as our distributor network goes, we want to entertain the idea of retail sales. I don't know that we will have a retail sale case in our facility. I believe that there's enough businesses out there in Sweetwater County that we could distribute through, and Farson is a pretty remote area for people to travel to. I believe that they would, but I believe that the business would be better justified going through a distribution network.
Thank you both. I see the need. It's there. I was fortunate enough to work with Rocco on a similar kind of program in Evanston. And so one thing that I think the audience and the other judges may find helpful is kind of what you go through on the slaughter phase and the inspectors that have to be on site, and what benefit that brings you by having that capability.
So once we go state certified and the inspectors are there for state certified slaughter, that actually opens us up to markets all over the state where the animal can actually be sold by package instead of, say, a custom slaughter where it's just the animal to be sold. Does that kind of touch on what you're talking about?
Yeah, I've heard it before, but just so everyone else understands what that capability gives you.
So there's essentially 3 steps to processing. You have your custom meats, then you have your state inspected, and you have your USDA inspected. State inspected pretty much assumes that everything within the state, your animal products can be used. USDA, those products can then cross state lines if they're USDA inspected. We're not looking to really go USDA inspected. We want to really work locally within our customer base and our ranchers and farmers within the area. And of course, the ranchers and farmers and customers, they can come to us as that comes. But as far as our product distribution within the state and the county.
Glen and Mindy, well done. Thank you for that. I heard rumors that there's like a co-op grocery store trying to start up. So that may be somewhere to look to. Like Cody mentioned, we run a similar program in Evanston. It's a lot less clean and sophisticated as this one, but we saw a similar issue going on in Evanston during COVID. We had ranchers that couldn't find anywhere to process their products, so they're taking them down to central Utah, waiting weeks and weeks. So I think folks will come to realize that a service like yours is going to be a luxury in the future. So thank you. I had another question, but I think it got answered. The state provides free inspection services, is that correct?
No.
No.
Those that we will have to pay the inspector.
Okay.
We'll have to provide them an office space to work out of. That's the things that as time goes on, we've got to grow and expand to. And then there's a little bit more to it as far as for the inspector to be there. He has to have the room to work. And a lot of his stuff has to be done privately, so you got to kind of build his office for him.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Really good job. I'm still a little unclear on the sort of the retail side of things. I remember growing up as a kid in Wisconsin, my parents bought like a half a steer, brought it home to the freezer, and I actually went with them to the slaughterhouse. It was kind of eye-opening when you're 4 or 5 years old. But would you guys help, like a retail customer, would you link them up with some of the growers, the ranchers up your way, and buy the lamb or whatever, and then you would then process it for that customer? Would that be possible under the business plan?
So when we get to being state certified, we have already researched and talked with local feedlots within the state. Of course, a lot of our producers that live and work around the county. And once we get to that point, we will be able to help them find customers and work with the customers on what their desires are. And if one beef shows up, obviously we can have in place something lined up for the customers to pick up their beef.
So I believe to answer your question prior to our state certification, we can connect customers to livestock producers so that they have a connection for the supply. We can absolutely do that, and we definitely do plan on advocating that as much as possible.
Thank you. Well done. You can go to Farson for your ice cream cone and for your T-bone. So, yeah. So, up next we have Justin Hood with Western Apparatus.
Hello, everybody. Glad to see everybody here. I was kind of getting nervous as people started rifling in, but I'm doing better now. So, my name is Justin Hood. I've been in the truck and automotive repair industry for over 20 years. During that time, I became a Pro Board certified industrial firefighter and a certified vehicle technician. I started Wyoming Apparatus in September of 2020 as a side job to help rural fire departments maintain their older trucks and keep them on the road. It quickly became evident that there's a lack of in-state services for all Wyoming fire trucks. That includes warranty work on newer apparatuses. In fact, the bulk of our work, the bulk of our jobs on trucks is between ages 2 and 8 years old. In June of this year, I quit my job and dedicated my career to operating Wyoming Apparatus full-time. Wyoming fire departments all face a multitude of challenges in maintaining compliance. Maintaining National Fire Protection Association fire apparatus compliance is costly due to out-of-state certification and repair companies. Wyoming is lacking in skilled and qualified support for repair personnel. Water resources can also be strained due to required pump performance testing. How well a community's fire department remains current on routine inspections, testing, and recertification of its fire equipment, the better the score given by insurance services offices. ISO score, in turn, determines how much we, the resident, pay for fire insurance on our homes, businesses, and municipal facilities. Non-compliance and equipment failure often endangers the lives of firefighters. Since routine testing will usually indicate wear, tear, and deterioration of emergency equipment, lack of doing so can mask mechanical issues. Water restrictions are also becoming more of a major concern for testing fire trucks. Traditional annual fire pump testing typically consumes thousands of gallons of water. Some trucks can take 3,000 gallons of water per minute for 45 minutes. Third-party testing is performed by Wyoming Apparatus. Most common deficiencies can be rectified on the same visit, eliminating downtime. This also alleviates the need for an apparatus to leave the state for repairs, which saves money. Wyoming Apparatus owns and operates the Draft Commander DC-3000. This self-contained portable pump test station allows quick and easy pump testing at any location. This trailer allows us to recycle 2,700 gallons of water. Conducting testing with this equipment means that all fire pumps are tested using the same water on one visit. The water is then put back on the trucks for firefighting operations. The Draft Commander is completely self-contained and uses no equipment from the apparatus. This means a ready-to-roll status in less than 2 minutes should an incident occur. Well, these are out of order. If a municipality decides to move towards an electric fleet, we also have the capability of working on electric fire trucks. We're the only entity in Wyoming certified to do so. No offense, but our customers are most definitely the coolest customers. Anyone that owns and operates a fire truck, ambulance, or rescue apparatus in Wyoming can be our customer. There's also a little bit of support dead zone for portions of Utah and Colorado. Wyoming Apparatus plans to reach those areas too. There are 114 registered fire departments in the Cowboy State. There's federal, state, county, city, and private fire departments that make up this number in Wyoming. Bear in mind that every one of these departments strive to maintain compliance and are bound by NFPA, and their residents or their companies are impacted by insurance costs related to ISO scores. In July of 2022, Wyoming Apparatus was serving 9 municipal departments. Currently, Wyoming Apparatus serves 21 fire departments, including 3 industrial brigades at Wyoming petroleum refineries. Our goal is to serve 30 departments by the end of the year. We expect to surpass that by the middle of the 4th quarter. Our competition all originates from out of state. That is taxpayer money that's leaving Wyoming. Not only is Wyoming Apparatus a local business, we have more to offer Wyoming fire departments than the competition. The marketing strategy of Wyoming Apparatus is simple in our unique market. Wyoming Apparatus is well represented at training events. Face-to-face marketing is our primary marketing, by personally calling upon fire departments and municipal leadership. The Wyoming Apparatus Mountain Peak branding iron logo is recognizable. We have established our brand in the fire service. Since our clientele is specific, our sales strategy is also specific. Wyoming Apparatus has been able to keep parts markups low. That gives our customers a greater ability to schedule more work within their budgets. We offer discounts to fire departments that can coordinate with other departments. We also offer discounts for combining multiple services. We often perform repairs on the same visit as tests and inspections. By combining trips, Wyoming Apparatus saves money. We can pass that along to our customers. Most firefighters collect patches from different departments they interact with. We offer patches to everyone on shift. These get redesigned every 2 years. Our current patch is in the shape of a helmet shield with the Tetons in a smoky sunset and the WA logo as pictured above. The primary revenue of Wyoming Apparatus has been single sale. Since regular testing can uncover mechanical issues, single sale services such as a pump test often leads to more sales of repair services and parts. Repair services have a strong influence on the sale of preventative maintenance contracts, especially after the root cause is discussed. Annual contracts are available. Wyoming Apparatus offers PM service packages that are as comprehensive as the department and/or the particular apparatus needs. On this slide, this graph represents projected cash flow for 3 years based on year one performance and scheduled work that departments have committed to. Notice there is a dip in units sold. This reflects repairs made during year one and a reduction in current customer deficiencies. This is a direct indicator of our efficacy. The graph begins with savings being injected into the business. The spikes indicate a loan and pre-planning for a replacement truck in 3 years. For my final slide, I want to discuss the timeline for my business and mention a little bit about how we plan to impact the community. First, the first order of business is a shop building to store equipment and inventory. We need to lease something in November when the draft commander is mostly parked for the season. Next spring, inventory needs to be purchased to achieve better dealer pricing from some of our partners. Having inventory will benefit the business as well as the client by reducing the need to order parts and return later to make a repair. In 2 years, we hope to start planning for a fire truck service center in Sweetwater County. This would eventually bring more jobs to the area and further establish better support for Wyoming fire departments. We plan to mitigate the workforce issue by putting together an apprenticeship program. We are currently building a plan to partner with a work-study program. This would involve a VOTEC school in our region. We're also exploring a plan to employ off-duty firefighters during peak pump test season. In conclusion, I would like to thank our sponsors, members, and community professionals for all their contributions to this program. I would like to extend a special thanks to RSNB for believing in me and helping me grow this business. I'd also like to thank my wife for putting up with me being up at 3 in the morning working on slides. If you want to check out more about Wyoming Apparatus, you can check us out at wyomingapparatus.com.
Thanks, Justin. Super cool service you offer. I had no idea this existed, so this has all been new to me. I'm trying to get a handle on kind of your market here. You said that you're the only provider in the state.
In state, yeah.
And then there's, I think you said 114 total departments.
Right.
And you currently service about 22 of those. The difference there between 114 and 22, are they just skipping the service, or are they using alternate providers that might be out of state?
Well, they're using alternate providers out of state for testing. So most of the tests done in this area are done by a company out of Colorado. It's UL. UL is actually a big company. They're on the light switches in this building. They're huge. So anyway, that's for this region. It's UL. There's another company out of Nebraska that services part of the state. It's just kind of regional. The problem is there's no support for repairs. Usually trucks have to go out of state, whether Fort Collins or Salt Lake, to actually be physically repaired. And that's what Wyoming has historically kind of budgeted for.
Yeah, so thanks for filling in that gap there. Based on that, do you think there's potential to displace, people like UL, or is their customer base in Wyoming so entrenched that they'd be hard to pry their UL grips off of the contracts?
Well, I've interrupted them pretty well in this region, primarily because I'm offering the repair too, and it's part of my business model. Even when we do the service center here, I'll still offer that mobile repair service. The service center would just be more extensive repairs, such as pumps or head gaskets or anything like that.
Thanks, Justin, and great presentation. I think this idea is one of those ideas that a lot of people are going to be saying, gosh, what a great idea. Why didn't I think of that? I have a question about when did you start your growth from July? Your growth in there has been just dramatic, and I wondered, when did you actually open your business?
Well, I worked on my first fire truck in September of 2020. I actually was involved with the fire department at Elk Mountain. And I knew those guys out there, and I had my credentials through, at the time I was working for the St. Clair refinery as their EBT. And so Wyoming Apparatus actually worked on Elk Mountain's truck first. And from there, it's just been mostly word of mouth. And it got to the point where I was not able to keep up. So I took it on full time.
Yeah, great work. I guess my question is more towards when municipalities or departments buy these trucks, they spend a lot of money. What type of warranty is available from the manufacturer? And then is that an avenue that you could pursue in becoming certified to perform the warranty work for the manufacturers?
It is. The fire truck warranty is interesting because the chassis will have a separate warranty from the fire apparatus, from the lights. Everything seems to have their own warranty. I'm actually networked with quite a few fire truck builders. One of my main ones is Hamm Fire out of South Dakota. I'm doing warranty work for them. So yes, I have been pursuing that and taking care of a lot of warranty work for different builders. There's kind of it gets a little bit convoluted because there are so many fire truck builders based on what the chassis might be. So there's quite a few companies that I have to work with to do that. But yes, for the bulk of the trucks that are under warranty, I do warranty work on those.
Hey, Justin, good job, man.
Thank you.
I don't know if I really have a question other than, are you working with our fire department in Uintah County?
Not yet.
Not yet?
I keep missing those guys over there.
Okay,
So.
we'll get you with Tim and Donnie. That's all.
Thank you.
Hey, Justin, thank you for great presentation. My question is more about as you ramp up. I mean, these just from your photos, these are very sophisticated pieces of machinery, and you've got this incredible 20-year background working on them. But how do you find young people and train them to get up to speed on what you know? It seems like it'd be kind of daunting.
It can be. I'm actually headed out for Michigan next week to Fire Truck Training Conference. During that time, I'm going to network and kind of keep my ear to the ground of people that want to move somewhere else, start something new. Like you said, you got here to Wyoming as soon as you could. Maybe somebody else like that. But yeah, so training new people can be daunting. To start with, I will need somebody that has a little bit of experience, but after that, we can certainly build those journeymen. So.
Any questions from the audience, since we have a couple minutes here? Okay. Justin, congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, we get to introduce our final presenters of the evening, the Grays with High Desert Technologies.
Okay, can everyone hear me? Awesome. Well, hello, I'm Brittany Gray, and this is Cody Gray, and we are High Desert Technology. So we're so excited to be here tonight, and I just wanted to share a little bit of information of why we're here to begin with. So about 4 years ago, Cody and I found our dream boat, but it was in Tennessee. So he drove all the way to Tennessee to get the boat, and it was a large boat pulling a trailer, long distance, and so at every stop he would have to go and check each wheel bearing manually with his fingertips to gauge, okay, is it hotter than the other ones? Is the temperature more than the last stop? Very tedious process, and even checking through the rear view window the whole night of, is it towing perfectly, and are we gonna make it back? So towards the end of the trip, the idea occurred, what if we could invent something that would show you in real time the temperature of the wheel bearings right to your phone? So that's why we're here tonight.
Okay.
So can you guys hear me okay? Perfect, thank you. So let's talk about our problem some. So our problem with wheel bearings, you know, there's catastrophic wheel bearing failures, and they happen on boat, utility, camper, and enclosed trailers. You know, and the failures affect anyone who owns and operates and utilizes these types of trailers. So you definitely don't want to be these guys, right, with the wheel bearing failure. So to continue our problem, wheel bearings failures happen frequently, and they always happen when you're towing, when you're using them, right? And so wheel bearing failures are the second largest cause of roadside assistance requests for trailers. And you can see in the picture on there, you know, that's another failed wheel bearing assembly, and you don't want to fix that on the side of the road.
So another issue that we saw, is this causes a lot of safety issues. So vehicle fires, 40% of all highway vehicle fires in the U.S. were caused by a mechanical failure. When our roadside assistant workers go out, you know, they're at risk by, you know, getting struck on the roadside, as well as our EMT, our service personnel are also exposed when they are doing reporting call-outs for things like wheel bearing failure. So something research that we found interesting was that in 2021, 20 pedestrians per day were struck on the side of American highways, which we were just not okay with that stat.
So let's talk about the cause of these wheel bearing failures. So there's the lack of lubrication, right? There's not enough grease in the actual bearing set. There's overloading, putting too much on your trailer, hauling too much weight. There's improper maintenance, over-tightening, under-tightening the wheel bearing axle jam nut, and there's mechanical failures. There's the dust cap that can come off. There's the seal that can fail and lose the, you know, the grease out of the assembly. And all of those lead to heat, and that is detected by temperature detection.
And I'm not sure how well you can see this, but so the wheel bearing failure here, but it can also do a lot of damage to your vehicles as well. So with that, we decided to develop Wheel Tech.
Okay, so what is Wheel Tech? Wheel Tech is temperature detection, it's vibration detection, it is your smartphone notification application where you can have real-time data, you can have alerts and trends. And it's going to be ease of installation. It's something that anybody can put on. You don't have to have it professionally installed. And so as you can see, the exploded view of the wheel bearing hub assembly here, the transmitter will end up being installed on that outer hub assembly. So product development, technology. So creation of brand new technology for this isn't necessary. It's already out there on the market in the world today. All of our software and hardware components, they're readily available also. So our design, our prototype design is currently complete. So software, our coding and application, we're currently working on that right now. And then our deployment, so we'll continue to test until we're satisfied with our results. And then we're working on our patent right now. And then we'll go out for competitive bid and manufacturing to get our product to market.
Which brings us to our customers, and really a broad range of customers. So we are looking to target really anyone who uses utility boat, camper, or enclosed trailers. Age group, in our research we found, we're wanting to look at roughly people in their mid-30s to early 60s, income level of $60,000 per year or greater. We did find in our research that 80% of boat owners make under $100,000 per year, and then market 70% men and 30% women. Wheel Tech is more affordable and performs better than our other products, which Cody will talk about in a second, so we can reach a broader audience and a bigger customer base. So with our markets, you know, go slow to go fast. So we wanted to think about targeting Wyoming, but also geographically our region. And then also the RV and boat market show happens 12 months out of the year, which is a big thing to bite off initially. So we wanted to focus for those on regional shows in our area. And then right now, existing brick and mortar like RV, camper boat, and off-road utility dealers, with those starting in Wyoming, that we have some relationships already. We also wanted to share just the potential of our growth in our markets. estimated over 17 million boats and camper trailers already in existence alone in the US. 44% of the entire global market for utility trailers resides in North America. In 2022, 16 million wheel hub assemblies are projected to be sold in North America, and North America has seen an average growth of 200,000 wheel hub assemblies per year in just the last 10 years.
So let's talk about our competition a little bit. As you can see, WheelTech, the upper corner, that's our product. We are able to do temperature detection, vibration detection. We are the low-cost provider with the most versatile for application, where it'll be motion activated. In addition to, you'll have real-time data via Bluetooth. So our other two products that are out there are competitors. One can only do vibration. The other, WheelSense, can only do temperature. And the product WheelSense selling is more expensive than the replacement cost of the axle itself. So, and then you probably can't see down here, but the best competition is just the old-fashioned touching it with your hands, right? That's the one that that all of us have, and that's all we have to use today.
So our marketing strategy. So definitely social media, even thinking about YouTube channels like how to install, etc. But just as an example, in our research, Facebook has over 10 million users in Marketplace for groups associated with boats, campers, trailers that we're looking for in that audience. We're going to attend shows, like I said, in the regional areas, the expos here in Wyoming, Salt Lake, and Denver boat shows. And we're looking at specific advertising in these high traffic areas where people are using these types of vehicles. And thinking about our statewide and local media outlets to do press releases, interviews, to not only talk about the product, but also the benefit to the safety features that we can provide. So sales and our channel strategy, e-commerce website, value-added resellers, wholesale, good old brick and mortar, and direct sales, like I had mentioned at trade shows and other events.
Revenue model. How are we going to make money with this product? Direct to consumer sales, right off the start, are web sales. And then marketplace advertisements. I looked up, and on Facebook Marketplace groups alone, there's over 10 million active users associated with campers, boats, utilities trailers, and enclosed trailers. Very easy market to hit. In-app advertising, we get enough users, we can sell advertising space within our application on the smartphone while people are using it. Business-to-business model, licensing and royalties. So those are all models for us to make money. So cash flow, profit loss. Okay, so this is 3 years on a quarterly scale, and what you see on the vertical bars is units sold, and we expect seasonal sales. We expect peak of summer quarter sales to be high. We expect it to come down towards the end of the year. I hope that every spouse buys or every loved one buys their loved one of these. So the first quarter, I don't expect high sales, right? Because everybody's got one. And then, but you'll see, so net revenue stays above our expenses, and then cash balance continues to grow over the 3-year period. Our target is 16,000 units over a 3-year period with over $2 million in gross sales. So our timeline, how do we get there? Right now, we're in our product development stage. We'll continue doing our testing. So first quarter of 2023, we will be working on, I'd like to be in a place where we have a fully developed product and we're ready for in-service testing. As we go down our road, I'd like by May of 23 to have our first 500 units actually ordered. And we can hire our first 2 employees, potentially an intern. And then as we go down, so by October of 23, I'd like to lease or potentially buy warehouse space and hire a 3rd employee. And then by first quarter of 2024, I'd like to have those first 2,000 units out the door and sold and hire a full-time sales position.
And we like to utilize intern programs like Monica mentioned at the beginning, the WIOA program, as well as Climb Wyoming, because we want to reinvest back into the communities and our workforce that we have within Wyoming. So thank you so much for hearing us and listening to our pitch. WheelTech, in closing, is a problem-solving device, not just for safety features, but detecting temperatures in real time for wheel bearings. Our product is also accessible to a variety of people because it's affordable and it's very easy to install. And not only are we from Wyoming, have the potential to hire lots of customers, lots of employees, hopefully everyone will be a customer, but I want to just pause and mention back as far as the employees, because the potential for these markets is so huge, so we're really excited about that opportunity. And also, most importantly, the safety feature that we could potentially save some lives. So again, this is Cody Gray, I'm Brittany Gray, and we are High Desert Technology with our product WheelTech. And thank you for all the partnership and sponsors, to the judges. And I also just wanted to mention we have quite a few high school students here, so thank you for attending. And with that, we'll hand the keys to the judges for any questions. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Cody and Brittany. I think you've really identified a great market niche. You know, you can't live in Wyoming without, having a desire at some point to own a camper or a boat. I think on my block, every other neighbor probably has something in their driveway. And it gets to you after a while, because it's like, well, I've got to get one of these things. So I think eventually we're all going to own something that needs to be trailered. But it sounds like you're really going to be focusing mostly on the aftermarket strategy, direct to consumer, and I think that's probably the right way to go. But I wonder if you thought maybe down the road about, approaching some of the manufacturers themselves and having them install the device before it leaves the factory.
100%, and we've talked about it and really thought about it, and that would be our ultimate business model, right? Again, kind of what Brittany said earlier, is kind of go slow to go fast in creating new technology. So we want to ensure our success.
Yeah, great job. My question is more on the technical side. When you're looking at the transmission on the Bluetooth, how much power, how often we have to change the battery, how long will that last?
So as much as I would like to dive into that, we're in the patent stage, and there's a lot of proprietary information that I would love to share, but I would be giving up a lot of our technology there. So.
Want to ask another question? No. Okay. Thanks, Cody and Brittany. Great presentation. Maybe it's the sick person in me, but coming back from the lake, it's always interesting to me to look at how many our vehicles are on the side of the road, whether it's a boat or it's a trailer or what, and there's always a number of them along the side of the road, and I'm sure it's in part some of this problem. But my question relates to your timeline and your ask letter. And in your ask letter, you refer to the prototype and a dollar amount there, and I'm not sure how that fits into where you're at in your timeline. If you could explain that to me, I'm just concerned about the ask and your timing.
Yep. No. So our ask letter, we've asked for two primary things, and one is part with our patenting, and we felt like sharing half of that cost was a fair ask, and then the prototype and development cost. I went out sometime back and priced what it would cost to have a company create this technology for us. And I realized that cost us too much, so I've learned myself, I've taught myself how to code and how to source electronics and how to assemble all this, is why we're at where we are now. We're at the point where we're ready to go to a manufacturer and say, hey, we're ready to put this together, print it, and actually get it on a product and test it. So we're at that place that we need those dollars to move forward. And the dollars we're asking for, I would say, is less than a quarter of what it's going to take us to even build a prototype, a working prototype. So.
As an engineer, I've got a bunch of technical questions, but I feel like that's going to get brick-walled. So by the patent pending thing, which I understand. Basic question here is this going to be like a universal mount part, or will you have like 10 different SKUs for the variety of different axle sizes and configurations out there?
So our approach is universal. Ultimately, it's going to be one product, and it's going to fit everything. Our competitors, that's part of the problem. Depending on the bearing and hub size, and it's got to be pressed in. Ours will be extremely universal. So.
Any questions from the audience?
Well, Cody, Brittany, thank you so much and congratulations. With that, we're going to hand this back to Monica while we excuse the judges to go get first in line for the snacks before they go to the room. So.
So now, everybody, it's up to you to just decide who gets the Audience Choice Award presented by Commerce Bank and the Job Creator Award presented by State Bank. So what you're going to do is you're going to send 2 texts, and they're both to the same number, the 551-319-5799. And then you text a single number for each choice. So for the Audience Choice Award, you'll text 1 through 6. And the choices are up here. They're also in the back of your program. And then there will be additional text for the Job Creator Award. So this is the company I think will create the most jobs or the best jobs. You decide, how you define that. So you text 7 through 12 for the Job Creator Award. And so the voting will be open for the next 15 minutes. And then there will be networking and food and coffee downstairs. And then we're going to have a awards reception, so we'll let you all know when to come back in here for the awards reception. And thank you so much. Okay, so now we'll announce the seed fund winners. This is in no particular order. I'm going to just announce them in the order they presented. So first up, we have Shop Dog Custom. Next, we have Meritical Health Solutions, the Wild Sage Market, GM Valley Processing, Wyoming Apparatus, and High Desert Technology. Let's hear it for everybody. So next, we'll present the Audience Choice Award, and this is by Commerce Bank of Wyoming, and it is Meritical Health Solutions. And next, the Job Creator Award, presented by State Bank, will be to Wild Sage Market. Now, could all the finalists, all the winners, come up here, please? Yeah, everyone wants some money. So Green River High School, come on up here.